Some themes appear where we least expect them, across cultures, centuries, and texts. They quietly return. They're like echoes in a vast stone chamber, resonating far beyond their original source. We might find a familiar narrative structure, a symbolic figure, or a moral question emerging in a story from a completely different part of the world, written in a different era. These are not exact replicas, but reflections faint yet recognizable. They invite us to look closer, to question how ideas travel and transform. It is a quiet reminder that the stories we tell are often connected in ways we have yet to fully understand. Woven together by threads that stretch across the entirety of human history, biblical themes are not always confined to a single time or place. Historical records suggest they echo across different traditions, appearing in literature, art, and oral histories that, on the surface, seem entirely separate. Some researchers point to the way foundational stories can be absorbed and reinterpreted by neighboring cultures through trade, migration, or intellectual exchange. A story of a great flood, for instance, isn't exclusive to one tradition. Variations exist across ancient Mesopotamia, Greece, and even among indigenous cultures of the Americas. While each version is unique and serves its own cultural purpose, the shared elements point to a deeper, more interconnected human experience. These parallels don't necessarily imply direct borrowing. Instead, they might reveal a shared wellspring of human concerns about creation, destruction, and renewal, expressed through a common symbolic language. Some scholars observe that these themes transcend geography, appearing in narratives shaped by different cultures and belief systems. Take the archetype of the scapegoat, a figure who carries the sins of a community. This concept, central to certain biblical narratives, also appears in various forms in other ancient societies. Similarly, the idea of a paradise lost, a golden age from which humanity has fallen, is a powerful motif found in Greek mythology with the story of Pandora's box and in many other origin stories around the globe. These recurring patterns suggest that certain symbolic structures hold a universal appeal. They provide a framework for societies to make sense of suffering, justice, and the human condition. It's less about the specific details of the story and more about the underlying function it serves, addressing fundamental anxieties and hopes that are shared across cultural divides. Rather than coincidence, historians often examine how ideas travel and how meaning adapts while remaining recognizable. The story of a prophet or a wise teacher who is rejected by their own people, only to be vindicated later, is a powerful narrative arc. We see versions of this in the life of Socrates in Athens, as described by Plato, and in countless other historical and literary figures. The details change, the context is different, the specific teachings vary, but the core theme of truth struggling against established power endures. Scholars trace these narrative pathways, looking at how a story told in one language is translated, adapted, and eventually becomes part of a new cultural landscape. It's a process of transformation, where the essence of an idea is preserved even as its outer form is remade to fit a new time and place, demonstrating the remarkable resilience and adaptability of storytelling. There are interpretations that suggest continuity, a direct line of influence connecting these disparate accounts. This view proposes that stories and their underlying themes were actively transmitted along ancient trade routes and through intellectual currents, forming an unbroken chain of thought. On the other hand, other perspectives remind us that meaning depends on perspective. This school of thought argues that similar themes can arise independently in different cultures simply because humans, regardless of their location, face similar existential questions. A story about the struggle between two brothers, for example, might not need a single origin point, but could emerge naturally from the universal dynamics of family, jealousy, and inheritance. Both interpretations offer valuable ways of understanding these patterns. One emphasizes connection and transmission, while the other highlights the shared nature of the human psyche. The truth may lie somewhere in between, in a complex interplay of influence and independent creation. Perhaps these themes endure because they speak to fundamental human questions that never truly disappear. Themes of sacrifice, redemption, betrayal, and the quest for meaning are not bound by any single doctrine or text. They are part of the bedrock of human experience. When a story grapples with the pain of loss or the hope for a better world, it taps into emotions that are universal. These narratives provide us with maps to navigate our own lives, offering archetypes and situations that feel deeply familiar, even if they are set in a distant, ancient world. The reason these themes reappear isn't just historical, it's deeply psychological. They persist because they continue to be relevant, offering each new generation a language to discuss its oldest and most profound concerns. The settings and characters may change, but the core questions they explore remain as urgent as ever. When ideas resurface across history, they invite reflection rather than certainty. Encountering a familiar theme in an unfamiliar context can be a powerful experience. It encourages us to look beyond the surface differences that divide cultures and to recognize a shared humanity. It challenges us to consider what it is about these particular stories that gives them such staying power. Instead of seeking a single, definitive explanation for these parallels, we can appreciate them as a testament to the richness and complexity of human thought. They serve as a reminder that we are all part of a long, ongoing conversation, one that has been unfolding for millennia. Each recurrence is not just a repetition, but a new voice, adding its own unique perspective to an ancient dialogue, deepening our collective understanding of who we are. If you find meaning in these recurring themes and in the quiet patterns that connect our shared past, consider subscribing to continue exploring them with us. We will journey further into these historical echoes, examining the threads that weave through the grand tapestry of human storytelling. There are many more connections to uncover and many more questions to ask. By joining this channel, you become part of the exploration, a quiet observer of history's most enduring ideas. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on these mysteries with us. Why do you think these themes continue to appear in unexpected places?